Hi guys, so I don't know if anybody saw this, but Tekken 7 was released this week, the second massive title within the fighting genre in the last month, the other being Injustice 2. Now I've seen a lot of excitement surrounding these two games, but I've also found a lot of gamers saying that they don't really believe fighting games to be worth the regular price of a normal video game. This is a feeling that I've also seen in myself. Although I do enjoy fighting games, I've often found that I don't usually buy them unless they're on sale, and then when I do, I don't usually play them for all that long. So this sort of had me thinking, why do some gamers, including myself, feel that fighting games are not worth full price? I did find one broad explanation for this phenomenon that many gamers seem to provide that seem to have developed over time as video games progress. So this reason is a general lack of content within fighting games. This doesn't really refer to content in the sense of a title maybe having too few characters to play with or items to unlock, but rather the general nature of the gameplay within a fighting game. So regardless of whether you're playing campaign, multiplayer, or some other single player mode such as classic battle, you're always doing the same thing, fighting. It's the same gameplay mechanic over and over again. While this may be fun for a while, a lot of gamers do find it rather tiresome after a while. This seems to be a sentiment that grew over time as gamers didn't always feel this way. I've always associated the fighting genre with that of the most traditional video game genres, with the likes of platformers and simple shooters. In the late 80s and early 90s, back when all three of these genres basically represented the basic crux of what video games were, gamers had no problem with paying full price for them. I do, however, think that it is also important to analyze the manner in which these games were consumed back when they were most popular. I will be specifically focusing on the fighting genre, seeing as this video is about fighting games. Probably the most influential fighting game of all time is Street Fighter 2. People consistently speak about the impact this game had on not only arcade video game culture, but video games overall. It is important, however, to note that its popularity grew much from the fact that it was an arcade game. As a general, arcade games provide players with a short gaming experience for a very small amount of money. While there were certainly people playing Street Fighter 2 for hours on end in arcades, I do think that this was largely the exception to the rule. That being that most people played one or two matches with a friend and then moved on with their life until the next time they played the game. Naturally, when video game consoles and computers started becoming a natural thing in people's homes, fighting games remained popular purchases because they provided the fun social experience felt in arcades and living rooms. But video game developers continued to explore what they could do with video games. So since 1991, when Street Fighter 2 was originally released, we've seen that video games have grown in all sorts of different directions. Now you have all sorts of different genres, such as open world games, more narrative based games. You still have the old popular games such as platformers, fighting games, shooters. Call of Duty is probably one of the most popular games of all time. But obviously now there's a greater selection of titles to play. So whereas previously there were only a limited amount of genres and good games, which made it easier for gamers to spend hours upon hours playing a certain title, gamers have a rather large selection of titles available to them that offer a variety of different experiences with different gameplay mechanics and for varying lengths of time. Most gamers do still enjoy playing fighting games, but may have a tough time paying full price for a title such as Tekken 7 or Injustice 2 when comparing the enjoyment they may get from these games to that of something such as The Witcher 3 or Uncharted. Now that there's so many different options available in terms of video games, it seems that many gamers have reverted back to playing fighting games the same way they did in arcades 20 to 30 years ago, and thus find it difficult to pay full price for such an experience. I've seen this very much in myself, in that back in the PlayStation 1 era, my brother and I would spend hours upon hours playing Tekken 3, but now I'll play one or two single player matches of Injustice or Street Fighter 5 if I do have a little time or nothing else to do. I'm not really campaigning for a change in the price of fighting games, as I have no idea of the production costs of these games, and I do know that some gamers only play fighting games and thus don't really care about the price. I have been wondering though whether it is the general consensus that fighting games should cost less. So, do you feel that fighting games shouldn't be full price? If so, why? Please share in the comments down below. And if you liked this video, please remember to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.